So now we're going to talk about different types of angles we will encounter during our parallel lines unit. So the first type of angles I want to talk about are a linear pair. So linear means line. So for those of you who know, a line has an angle measure of 180 degrees. So a linear pair, therefore, is going to add up to 180 degrees. So a linear pair are two angles that, well, we're going to simplify this. Two angles whose measures, so the measure of the angle, sum to 180 degrees. So that's simply saying that if given two angles, if they add to 180 degrees, then they are a linear pair, because a line adds to 180 degrees. So if we have angles 1 and angle 2 here, you know that angle 1, the measure of angle 1, plus the measure of angle 2 is going to give us 180 degrees. Because a linear pair means two angles whose measures sum to 180 degrees. So the word that we are going to encounter most that means sum to 180 degrees is supplementary. So linear pair, a synonym, is supplementary. That word you are going to see very often, and it's what we're going to talk about a lot. So a linear pair means they add to 180 degrees. So supplementary means the same exact thing. Two angles are supplementary if they add to 180 degrees. So up here we know that measure of angle 1 and measure of angle 2 add up to 180. So in this picture below, we have two parallel lines here cut by our transversal. Now, there are so many linear pairs that you can find in this. So we can start off. If you look here, this right here, we'll call this C and we'll call this A and B. C is a line. And so C is a line that is intersected by line A. And right here forms a linear pair because it's a straight line and it's cut. So we know that angle 2 and angle 4 will sum to 180 degrees. Angle 7 and angle 8 are also linear pairs because when you add them together, they will sum to 180 degrees. The same thing, angle 3 and 4. So wherever you have a straight line cut by another ray or line, we will have supplementary angles, which are also called a linear pair. So moving on from that, we'll come over here to complementary, because that's the one that most people mix up with supplementary. Complementary is when two angles, the measure, of two angles sum to 90 degrees. So angles 1 right here and angle 2 here are complementary because they add to 190 degrees. Oh, so you guys can't see that. It says sum to 90 degrees. A trick to remembering this is just like remembering alphabet. So C comes before S in the alphabet. Complementary, supplementary. C comes before S. So this will be complementary. This will be supplementary. Since C comes before S and 90 comes before 180, we know that complementary is when two angles sum to 90 degrees, and supplementary is when two angles sum to 180 degrees. Now the last type of angles that we will encounter are vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are opposite each other. So vertical, we're always thinking opposite. So right here, angle 1 is opposite to angle 4. They are vertical angles because they are opposite each other. So we can always say vertical angles are always congruent. So congruent means the same. So the measure of angle 1 is going to be the same as the measure of angle 4. So if you look, we have another pair of vertical angles. We're going to have angles 2 and angles 3 are vertical pairs here because they are opposite each other. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 3 in that picture. And the same thing applies down here. The measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 4. because they are vertical angles. And the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 3 because they are vertical pairs. Or vertical angles, my mistake. And 7, the measure of angle 7 is going to be equal to the measure of angle 6, and so on and so on. So wherever the opposite angle is, that is where you have a vertical angle. And vertical angles are always equal.